Hi, we're going to talk about tree pose, one of the foundation poses of the yoga practice. One of my favorite poses to teach because of the way it can really show how our postural imbalances are magnified in this pose. So, take a look at what I think of as Tadasana, or good posture, standing straight up and down. Trying to have the feet pretty close together, the thighs back, with the legs directly under the hips, the shoulders on top of the hips, and then the ears in line with the shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. Trying to find the straight line. Really not an easy thing to do, getting everything stacked up. But we always try to do our best, and we're moving towards this ideal of good posture, or Tadasana, mountain pose. Alright, so we'll start with tree pose from the front, starting on the right side. Take the right foot up into the inside of the left thigh. You get it up as high as you can. Don't worry about how high you get it. And the first thing to feel is what is going on in the hips. Because the tendency is that, on this side, the right side, the hip goes backwards. And we want to come back to Tadasana, or standing straight up, and have the hip points pointing straight forward. So really try to get your hips forward. Once you do that, try to get the standing thigh back underneath the hips, the front ribs down, and the back of the knees up. Let's take a look at this from the side and see how these things kind of manifest. And take the right knee forward and up, and pull the right foot high up into the left inner thigh. And for me, the tendency that happens is the hip flies back and the standing leg goes forward. And that is really what I think is going on in a lot of people's posture on two legs, but it magnifies in tree. The hip back, standing thigh forward, and we have to figure out how to get the hip forward, so the hip points are in line, and the standing thigh back underneath the hip. Bringing the hands into prayer, trying to get this sense of a line from the ear to the shoulder, to the hip, to the knee, to the ankle. Again, the tendency is this thigh flies back, the leg jams forward, and we have to figure out how to get back and under. Don't worry about how far the knee comes forward. This pose is a hip opener, but only if the hip points are pointing forward. If the hip points are not pointing forward, you're just turning the pelvis. So you might open the knee at a certain point, but again, the key is to work to get the leg underneath the pelvis, the ribs down at the front, open at the back, and the back of the neck lengthening way up. The tendency is, in tree like Tadasana, to kind of tuck the pelvis and lean backwards a little, and we want to learn to take the thighs forward, the ribs down, and the back of the neck up.